Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. We have a Canon Classics tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you as usual from the Pine Nose Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida, in the Extreme Studios with RDV. We're going to be going over Delta Force 2 with Chuck Norris from 1990, aka the sweater-wearing Chuck Norris, the end of the 80s, as it were. And RDV, I got to tell you, I haven't seen this in a long time, and I
Chuck
don't
Norris
remember any of
light.
it. Yeah, and we get about halfway through the film, like, okay, now I remember everything. This is one of those films that was there, it was on, it's not bad, and it's canon. But at this point now, things feel different because it's the 90s. A decent film, especially if you're into the 80s. There's a lot to like about it. His brother, son, whatever, directed it, I think. So it's got some interesting.
His brother did, Aaron Norris.
Aaron Norris, because he's done a lot of stuff too and all that. But
Yeah.
if you're a Chuck Norris fan, you're going to see these Delta Force movies, right? So we said, you know what? Let's go back and check this out too. Have you seen this before?
I have before. It took me when I was watching, and I was like, it took me a second to figure out what was going on, and then there's a scene here where the mother with the baby and they're in the cocaine fields and all that.
Oh, it's the best scene of the movie.
Then I recognized. I was like, oh, I know where we are now, because I've seen this before. It just took me up to a couple minutes, and then I remembered why I never really went back to this movie, because you have to wait an hour and 16 minutes before everything just becomes Chuck Norris.
It's a third act movie,
yeah,
right?
It is. And it's kind of reasons why a lot of people did not like this. They felt it was kind of a cop out for canon classics.
Yeah, things were definitely changing. And by this time, even Chuck Norris himself had gone away a lot from the hand-to-hand that we've talked about was really prevalent. We always say Commando's kind of that turning point where it became more guns and explosions. Yeah. Here, though, he has to basically what happens is you've got this drug lord in Blackish South America, and so this team goes and arrest them. They screw up. They get all whacked, except for the one guy survives. The president basically says, "I authorize you to use the Delta Force," which means, of course, Chuck Norris and his buddies.
Richard Jaeckel.
Yeah, and he's a character actor. You guys know him. And so basically, he's like, "We'll just go. I'll go save the 3 or 4 hostages, and I'll try not to kill the guy or whatever." Because at the time they say don't kill him. But of course, that what happens. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Everything's got an 80s vibe to it. But again, this is running on fumes. I'm sad to say it, because I wanted to like this film a lot more than I remembered it, because I thought on paper, if you and I were talking, I love a lot about it. Watching it, though, like you, I'm going, I don't mind seeing Chuck Norris in a sweater. I don't mind him watching him beating people up and pointing at them and just destroying them and showing us his 20 different martial arts that he's black belts in.
Right.
I don't even mind watching him rock climb.
So basically, this stars Billy Drago, aka the evil version of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Correct.
It literally is. You look at him, it's like, wow, it looks like him. Looks like they're related, like brothers. Billy Drago, who basically plays, Ramon Cota, who has this deal with General Olmedo, and like in the Colombian, basically Colombia, and they are running this cocaine business stuff. If you don't know, Margolis as he plays General Almeida, as we're talking about behind the scenes, Héctor Salamanca from Breaking Bad. He's the guy in the wheelchair. Ding, ding. Yeah, I love it. Such a great actor. And basically, those two are in cahoots. Billy Drago's character could never be arrested because he always has the upper hand because the government's working with him. And these guys go in. They send in the American soldiers in there, or CIA to DAE to take them down, but they're tipped off and they're killed in their van. Then they're taken hostage. So the Delta Force is sent in, like you said, and Chuck Norris. It takes about an hour and 16 minutes before we see any kind of action stuff. We got the 2 Delta Force guys in there, basically sneak into the cocaine warehouse, where they have so much cocaine, they need to 4 warehouses. Yeah. And they plant the bombs in there, so there's a big explosion towards the end here. And I kept thinking, are they gonna get caught? Is someone gonna get whacked? But no, they don't. This is basically where they decided to basically go. Let's do a little commando a little bit here with excessive bullets and missiles.
Yep.
From helicopters.
Yep.
And it got a little bit excessive because Chuck Norris movies? What are they known for? Him punching and beating up people, and you didn't get a lot of that till the very end. Now you can argue you got more kicks than you got in Invasion USA, but Invasion USA felt like it was a faster pace and more coherent. This felt like Chuck Norris came back, but he really didn't want to be there.
Here, that's a really good description of it, because I didn't look at it that way. But here's another thing too that I don't know if it helps or if it hurts. And I was going to ask you this, because again, being the '80s guy and you being the '90s, we may feel different. In a recent movie that we just talked about, Two Lane Blacktop, I talked about the feeling of what it was like back in the '70s, going, on these road trips, and how that was one of the first like road trip kind of movies, right?
Yeah.
And just to bring back a very strong sense of what's like to go there. But of course, nobody remembers that unless my age or older. When I'm watching this on paper, the stuff that happens here, like if we're describing it, sounds incredible. And I don't know if the execution's flat or what, because the bad guy, basically, I mean, that's a whole separate scene in itself. But the whole idea of Chuck Norris getting his group together, doing all this, is really fucking cool. And the bad guy, he's driving up to his palatial estate past all the conscripted labor, and there's the one woman, hiding out from the sun with her baby, and he's like, "What is wrong with her?" And he goes, "She refuses to work. She believes the sun will kill her baby newborn child." And he goes, "Stop the car." And he gets out, and he basically says, "You need to work." And she's like, "No, my baby." And to show how bad of a dude he is, or whatever, like that, the hubby comes up, he shoots him.
No, he stabs him.
And basically, he's like,
take her,
bring her to me, and then get rid of the baby. And you're like, you're an evil bastard. It sounds cool, but when I'm watching it, I'm going, I'm not feeling it. And I'm not saying Billy Drago does a bad job, but it's just, I've seen this 50 million times in the '80s. What makes this special?
So what makes this special? Because it felt like the Sean Connery when he came back to play Bond.
I disagree, because that was a fun film.
That was a fun film, yes, but I'm saying it's the same kind of setup, because they've already moved on with Michael Dudikoff at this point with American Ninja. They're investing in him. Chuck Norris is kind of like, we're scaling it back a little bit, for canon stuff. So, like I said, you had a good cast in here, so I didn't mind.
Cast was good.
Yeah,
acting's decent.
Yeah, Billy Drago, but you kind of like, you knew what the movie was kind of gonna be as you go through it. It's the movie where it's Billy Drago's so evil, and no matter what, he's gonna happen, and Chuck Norris is at the end, pretty much is like, not this time, cuts the rope, and he falls in the helicopter. No.
But tell me this. Look, here's one thing about Delta Force I'll say in its favor, and I want your take on this. This has a great idea, and this is before The Living Daylights. This is before a cliffhanger. I'll give Chuck Norris credit in that, for whatever reason that they decided to include rock climbing, that was fortuitous, because they're one of the first ones to do it. But let's talk about the plane scene before. So Billy Drago's character, he's taking. This sounds so cool talking to you about it. Again, watching it, this was actually cool. He has to deposit some of his millions of dollars in his Swiss bank account, right? Because nobody can do it. So he's taking his private jet, right? But they're only going to be over U.S. airspace for like a 5 or 10 minute window. So what are they going to do? They're going to get on board there, and they're going to abduct his ass when he's over the U.S. airspace. Yeah. That's badass. And they do it, and they go out, and this is great stunt stuff where they're going out and they're in the parachutes and all that. This was really, really badass. I just wish there was more stuff like that, because that felt really huge to me.
5 years later, we get Xena on top. Remember, they're in she's attached to the helicopter thing, the cable, and then she basically gets caught in the tree and killed, crushed.
Yeah.
I was like, it kind of felt like that a little bit, kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was disappointing. That was not the way for her to go.
Or you remember with kind of like we got 89, we got Michael Keaton, with the Joker, where the Joker gets killed by the cable thing attached to the helicopter, and then he's on the ladder, and then the thing's attached to the gargoyle that falls over, and he gets pulled over and falls to his death. It's like, kind of felt like there's a lot of wire deaths going on. Like,
well, do you think it's because studios are trying to go away from person to person violence?
I don't know.
Now you can evolve machines. Go, well, they got caught up in something, literally.
I mean, we saw the fight scene with Lone Wolf McQuaid. I think it's still the best fight scene. David Carradine and Chuck Norris.
That's really good, but I tell you, I still like the science created him. Now Chuck Norris must destroy him. So, that one.
There's only one reason. There's only one explanation of why this movie drags in certain spots, because they were told, if you don't have Chuck Norris in it, there's no hope of ever like being as good, because Chuck Norris wouldn't allow it. So they cowered in fear. That's why the scenes were shitty compared to whenever they showed Chuck Norris, it was like 10 times better. But that's just what it is. But overall though, the gun he's got in his hand, never uses it. Never even in the movie. Lied to me. You watch the first movie of this Delta Force, and when he's on a motorcycle and he's going after the guy, the captain, he's in the house, and then he has to race to get back onto the plane. Way better than this. This kind of felt like, all right, we just keep going back and forth, back and forth. Chuck Norris is now climbing the side of a mountain. Now Chuck Norris is swimming. Now it's like just keep showing Chuck Norris doing crazy Chuck Norris things. Chuck Norris now doing the
Chuck
splits.
Norris in a wide world of sports.
Right? It just kept going back and forth, and I was just like, why do I even like? I should just cut
He's
out.
going to race Gabe Kaplan in the 100-meter dash.
Right? Yeah.
He's going to arm wrestle him.
It was just kind of silly in that point, and I can see why this got such a low score on IMDb not because it's an old film, I don't think it's because of that. It's just because compared to his other movies that he's done, this kind of felt kind of like he was just phoning it in.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but this is the time when he was starting to get ready to transition into television. I mean, he would do
Walker,
the Hitman and one or two things other, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. And look, Chuck would be the first one to tell you that he didn't know anything about acting. He tried getting into it. He took it seriously. He worked hard at it, took classes, all that stuff. I think he's pretty comfortable in here. And the one real positive trait he has, besides the stare and the karate stuff, is that his partner, whose wife gets murdered and son shot in his house and wants to go rogue and all that. He was horrible, really bad. I couldn't stand him. I'm glad he died.
Yeah.
But when you see him and Chuck talking, I go, Chuck's a lot better actor in here than he was in earlier movies. But those movies were better because they were more Chuck Norris movies, and that's lost in here because the acting doesn't help in this film. But he looks like the kind of guy that you might know if you're an adult, but he's just really fucking good at kicking ass or something like that. Like he's got that everyday man sort of thing about him rather than a superhero thing. And I always love that. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's maybe like 178 pounds, 180 pounds, right? But he's a legit badass. And if we don't remember that when he's doing the gearing up and the training before he goes on the climb, they show him outside on the base, beating people up, practicing different things out. And those moves are still pretty badass watching them. And he's doing them himself. And I would have liked to have seen just a bit more of all that, because you're right. When it gets reduced down to the guns and the explosions, and this is what I've said to you before, to me, there's no emotion behind it. I could care less. It's really stupid. Not as stupid as, like, say, Daniel Craig getting nuked, in the last James Bond movie with the really dipshit ending, crying like a little bitch. This one just kind of whimpered out on its own. And you're right. I hate to say Chuck Norris phoned it in, because I don't think he did, but it felt that way.
Do you know who stole it, though? Who stole the whole entire star power in this movie? I love Chuck Norris, but John P. Ryan, the warden from Runaway Train in the helicopter, it was just like
he was excited.
He's like, okay, we're gonna go, basically look for the cocaine stuff, and stuff in there, and field stuff, poppy fields, whatever. And they have their Columbian representative saying, "Oh no, you this is the red zone. You have to go into the green zone. You cannot hear." He's like, and I love John. He's like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I like this better here. We're gonna look." He's like, "No, you're crazy," because he's a weasel. He's working for the bad guy. And they're in the helicopter, and like, oh, here comes. They basically start taking out the bad guys and blowing up the cocaine where they're basically gathering stuff. And then and I love it. Like they keep going back to him. And eventually they get to the guy where he's like, and John Pierre's like, what you can do? You could shut the fuck up. It's just like his helicopter scenes in there was just fun, and I honestly, it just, for me, it's still the movie. You get one scene here with a couple scenes with Chuck Norris doing some kicks. He does a roundhouse kick, but it's mainly against the henchman. Yep. And I think he does a roundhouse kick against Billy Drago when they're in the jungle. But for the most part, it's like, it's just basically we got two helicopters. We're gonna fire missiles, blow up things. Okay, cool. Literally towards the end, that's what it was. And
we got $50,000 left on our budget. Okay, we'll shoot a few more.
Let's blow up the cocaine. Remember the cocaine warehouse? Let's blow them up with the biggest explosion we can. Cool.
Now, from the 80s, from what I recall, the big thing about this movie was that there's a lady that was, this was shot in the Philippines, and the house there was supposed to be the shoe closet for Imelda Marcos, who, when they found out some stuff was going on, she had like 3 or 4,000 pairs of shoes. Seriously. And that was like a really hot thing for a while. Like, how does somebody do that? And that was, government excess, but of course not. Nobody really thought of it necessarily in the United States. But wow, somebody in a little rinky-dink country's got all these shoes. Why? How? And so yeah, it's cool because the film looks good. Like when he's crossing the river on the little rope bridge there, that's a cool shot. His contact in the village is the woman who got raped and had her son taken away, and whose husband, got whacked in front of him.
Yep.
I thought the chemistry between her and Chuck were absolutely fine. Not a love interest, which he normally doesn't do. I mean, the movie's got good things and it's done well.
Here's something most people probably don't know, because back in '89, back in May, when they're filming it, for 2 months, the helicopter crashed. Took off, filmed scene, and plunged to a 40-foot ravine. 4 people on board were killed, including electricians Don Marshall, Mike Graham, cameraman Gotti Danzig, and pilot Jojo Imperial. And about 10 people were also hospitalized, including John P. Ryan. And stuntman and actor Matthew Gómez. Then 10 days later, actor Jeff Brewer died. Then Norris basically stated that the production shut down for 6 weeks in order for everyone to recuperate, and added to the casualties were his close friends as well. He's the people he worked with all in his movies. He also said that the production in the Philippines could have continued to the cast. But the cast and crew were basically so devastated, and they had to return to the United States to get their minds functioning again. And then after that, production took the locations, including Puerto Rico. That's why it looks really cool in some of the scenes. Mm-hmm. Then they went to they went to Tennessee to complete the filming. And then at the end of the movie, they said it's dedicated to the memory of the crew killed and stuff. This is basically so everything. This was the second helicopter accident that happened in a Norris film. The first one was Braddock missing Action 3 in the Philippines, when 4 soldier actors were killed in a crash. A military helicopter he was renting. And then so like after all this happened, the families later sued Canon Films for this. So that also led down to the end of Canon Films, was them being sued for this, for the incompetence stuff. And accidents do happen. Who knows? Maybe it was pilot error. Maybe the actual an engine failure. We don't know. But it was just interesting. I never knew about that. The movie. I've watched this movie a couple times now. I just never really read up about it. So that's kind of cool. Hey, Wikipedia is good for something sometimes.
If you believe it. I mean,
I believe it.
What I'm saying is some of the stuff's that way, but that's something that was definitely on the news. It just goes to show how we've talked about at this time, by 1990, Jackie Chan had been around 10, 15 years. He's had his own stunt crew, was not successful in the United States, had to go back, then came back again. And so I at least appreciate Chuck Norris had his group of people that we've worked with and all that too. And accidents do happen, but it makes me appreciate it more when they're doing something that's filmed here, because again, part of the magic of this movie is the backdrop of where it's shot and seeing it and everything too. And even though it's supposed to be like in South America and it's supposed to be like a carnival type thing, it's obviously not Brazil. It still kind of looks good because it's got some of that stuff to it. And again, it's the typical thing of the 80s with cocaine, and the guy's got the big palatial estate with all the people down there and all the slave labor and all that. Nothing new. I mean, if you've been watching Miami Vice or paying attention to that Scarface, this is pretty par for the course, and nothing wrong with it. It happens. I wish Chuck would have kicked a little bit more ass in here, hand to hand.
Yeah, I was looking up to see what other movies were called, and they're on for. There's a lot of movies the Canon Group did around this time. I was just trying to see exactly when American Ninja. Okay, so they already started at this time. Yeah, number 3 had already been out. 89.
Yep.
Yeah. So it didn't start out, and then you get Scott Outlaw Gore. Cyborg was in April. So.
Which is solid.
Yeah. Cool. I was looking to see what else they had at the time, because I know they just were really pushing Michael Dudikoff and a lot of films. He was kind of taking over the films that Chuck Norris really didn't want to do anymore. He'd already done them. The guy had been doing so many movies even before Breaker. He was with Chuck Norris, or not Chuck Norris, was with Bruce Lee. So he was like, okay, I've done this, I feel like, he said, I feel like this, they really had to pay him a lot of money in order to come back for this. I'm curious what his salary was.
Yeah, Chuck was pretty good with, getting good salaries or part to it. And I think he even put up early on some of his own money and some of the things to be behind it, to have some skin in the game. So I do kind of respect that about it.
And he gave the third movie, Delta Force 3, to his son.
Yeah.
And because he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, Chuck, at this point, I was just typing this in chat here. People are asking about the Hitman, which I think is 91, 92, whatever. And that's the last movie that he really does where he's like kind of like this, that if I can remember off the top of my head, because he started going into the TV show that he did, Walker, Texas Ranger, which is super popular, but allowed him to kind of transition. He's already in his 50s at this point. He wanted to, I think, get a bit more directly involved in those things, use the team that's on him. And if you watch Walker, Texas Ranger, you're going to see everybody that you knew from every 90s TV show and some 80s TV shows that were in acting. And there's not, and that's, I'm telling you, I was surprised at Bobby Rose because I remember going, man, I remember Silent Rage. I remember The Octagon, which is phenomenal. I remember Chuck Norris. I don't want to remember Delta Force 2, I'm being honest, but at least I know of it. But then when I saw the trailer for Walker, Texas Ranger, and I'm like, really? And I tried to watch an episode or two. I just, honestly, I couldn't. I felt like he was reduced to doing television. And I hate to say that.
Yeah. Some reviews for this movie were saying like it just felt like you're watching Mission Action again. And I can understand that because Mission Action kind of already done with the POWs and stuff. This and coming in to save people, this has already been done. So it's just cliche. And it was just subpar acting. You know, you didn't get as much Chuck Norris as you wanted. You know, and so Missing in Action is a movie definitely we will be reviewing, if not soon, before the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to do some more Chuck Norris movies. Because I feel like
we started this channel off with Chuck Norris for the most
I know, yeah,
with you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how serious we take them, you know.
So
you've got Chuck Norris, you've got Sylvester Stallone, and you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger in the '80s. Who are you taking?
Well, Chuck Norris, he defeated God.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no!
Chuck Norris is in the room with Chuck Norris. Who are you voting for? Well, Chuck Norris. Because they're both going to come to realize that they're both awesome, and then they're just going to have a beer together. You know,
man,
but no,
that was the race of the '80s, man. I'm telling you, those three. And Chuck Norris gets kind of left out of the conversation, I think.
Which I think is really dumb.
Head matchup, I do too. Different type of movie, but still legit badass, right? You know, look. Schwarzenegger wouldn't be around if it weren't for these two guys, and Stallone's just pure raw talent. So I like him. But Chuck's the real deal. I mean, he's legitimate. One of the very first guys that made it through the '70s with the martial arts and relied on himself. And when we talk about people that have, like Jackie Chan, the pedigree to back it up, it's just a question of are the movies going to be good enough, or can you construct them in a way to bring that out of them?
Chuck served in the Marine Corps, wasn't he?
I thought it was Army, but
Army, but he was in that for the Army for a while.
Yeah, so he was out of Oklahoma. I know that. And
like I said, like he's always been like out of all of them. I mean, he's always been the conservative, and I think that's kind of why a lot of people kind of push him away. You know, you got the Chuck Norris joke fans. You know, like that. But like when it comes down to like who you gonna watch, I'm gonna watch Rambo. Why are you gonna watch Rambo? I'd rather watch Chuck Norris, man.
Well, it's interesting because honestly, Schwarzenegger, his films, generally speaking, are the weakest. I think Stallone's are probably the strongest, or maybe the most fun. But then Chuck Norris has just been really solid, right? It's like ups or downs for the most part, although it's trending down here. Right?
Chuck has that trope. He's like, he's the nice guy. You see someone,
doesn't want to fight unless he has to.
Well, he just taught him a lesson. That's all.
How would I rate this compared to the first one? Well, if this is Delta Force 2, maybe we should rename it to Delta Force 5.
This felt more like Delta Farce. No, Delta Force, the first one, is a entirely different beast and totally different movie, and it's way more entertaining. This one, like I said, it wasn't that
made
great.
For TV.
Kind of
straight to video. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, straight to video, straight to sleep.
Yeah, I get nothing else to rent from the grocery store. It's $1.99 on their special. I'll go. What the hell? I'll go and grab it. Why not? It's Chuck Norris.
I need a Chuck Norris movie. We have 30 of these. What about the other one I want to watch? None. They're all sold out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm at Blockbuster getting some popcorn. Hey, rent 3, get 1 free. Okay, what's that one going to be? Let's get Chuck Norris. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just whatever. I haven't seen it.
Breaker.
Oh, he's got Delta Force 2. I never knew they had it. Let me watch it.
I'll just say this: Delta Force 2 or Breaker. I'm picking up Breaker.
Oh, that's hard. I think I might have to go Delta Force 2. That's tough. Breaker's not good either.
I love Breaker.
But it's fresher.
Where he's driving the truck through the town.
The CB culture. Yeah, it's a little bit better of a set piece, I guess. I don't know.
And he gets the girl too. Yeah,
those are brutal matchups. Who wins out of those two?
Well, let's just say Billy Drago gets to stick the same girl twice. Takes out a whole entire family, man. We're never
honestly, you know what this reminds me of? What we did recently?
What's that?
And I'm blanking on the name right now, but the movie that Sho Kosugi did, where they wanted to make him the head guy. Great scenes, some great fight stuff, some great stunts, and it was crap. They didn't support it good enough. That's what this film is.
Oh, if you're talking about not the ninja? No, is it ninja?
It's not the ninja movies.
No.
He's a guy that knows stuff or whatever. Remember, then they have the big fight at the end.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'll tell you exactly what it is because I remember we just did it a couple of weeks ago and it didn't do so well. It was called Rage of Honor.
Sho Kosugi. Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, and
14 views on this channel. It's like you're like, I want to watch it. People are like, I don't like the movie. I don't even want to watch a review.
The Kosugi clan, his son, big martial artist, does a lot of fight choreography and stuff like that. I mean, and Sho Kosugi been around for a long time, so I don't know, man.
I like Sho Kosugi. Like I like the ninja movies. We did that Ninja and the Dragon's Den with Conan Lee and a couple of those guys. Dude, that is such a much better movie. This, like I said, like it's just whatever reason that other one was just a dud, and they wanted to get Sho Kosugi and they're doing a lot more canon films, and he just didn't work out. It was trying to like put Jackie Chan in the 19 was
period piece, that one movie.
Yeah. Brawl Knuckle Ball.
That one.
Or Bear Creek Brawl. Yeah. And it didn't do so well. Even though it was like Jackie Chan just did Jackie Chan stuff, it's just that it didn't catch on. The audience didn't like it. So he comes back a couple years later, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we love it. I'm like, I just did the same damn thing I did before. Have you ever done Pray for Death? Well, no, I'm not praying for death, but I'll try it later.
As opposed to Killed by Death by Motorhead.
Pray for Death. I've never heard of that. Is that another one, Sho Kosugi? You got to tell me. You just got to read over everything. It's like, because, yeah.
Anthony's bringing it tonight.
Well, I mean, at least somebody is.
We have not done Pray for Death. We have not done that.
Pray for Death. That is Sho Kosugi with Kane.
Kane Kosugi, the son.
Oh, nice. And Shane. Oh, he's got both. Yep.
Chicane Kosugi.
Yeah. But Tokyo, he's standing to open a restaurant, but beneath a curious innocent
at this time, in the early 80s, I remember, I think it was with Christy Brinkley, Chuck Norris had a real famous commercial because you're starting to get this major push through health clubs in the 80s, which really didn't exist. You had a few hundred small gyms or whatever, and that's it, mom and pop things. So one of the Gold's gyms here in Central Florida that was opened up on the west side of town here, outside the hood. I remember there was a big ad for him and all that, but then he came out with whatever the hell it is. If you Google this right now while I'm talking about RDV, you'll catch it. It's this fitness slide thing or whatever like that Chuck Norris put on. It was really huge. And you're like, man, this just looks like a slide, and he's got cables. This dude's not lifting weights. No wonder Chuck Norris is a small little dude. Because again, every kid like me at that time that's 12, 13 years old, they're thinking of Schwarzenegger and the big muscles. But then you go and you do it on your own, and you realize that, oh my God, this is really freaking difficult. Then you see how easy Chuck's doing it. You start appreciating how fit of an individual this guy was. Because again, he didn't look physically other than like he was in shape. So you don't realize just how much of a badass he was. And that's one of the things I always respected by him. That's bugging me, this exercise thing. I know somebody knows it.
Do you know who's got great genes? Chuck Norris has got great genes. Came up with his own jeans, man, back in the day. So in
the Black Belt magazine, it had in the crotch area the little spandex part, because back then you actually made jeans without stretch material.
So I'm looking up Pray for Death. The bad guy is James Booth. You should know who James Booth is. Avenging Force, American Ninja 4, Annihilation. He's a bad guy. Yeah. Died. Yeah. Wow. He died in 2005, early.
Yeah, they're all dropping. I mean, that's sad to see.
Well, I mean, you look at if you. Well, he died at 77 years old in 2005, but like my grandfather was born in the 20s. A lot of them they'd be in their hundreds by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah. Wait till we start talking more your decade of the 90s when we start talking about Billy Blanks and the hot phenomenon that equaled the Total Gym almost and Tybo.
Oh, Tybo, Billy Blanks. I remember that.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts. Let's just wrap this up. It's an okay film. If you're a Chuck Norris guy, you're going to see it, but don't put it high on your list. Just go see something else instead until you come to this one. If you want some pain and misery or you're under the influence and it's on, put it on. It'll put you to sleep. It's that kind of a movie.
Yeah. Man. Just looking at other movies of my canon classics. We still got Alien from LA.
Mm-hmm.
Puss in Boots. Great one. Like what's his name? Oh yeah. Oh man, I don't think we did all the American Ninja ones. I kind of want to get into those again, but I know we did 1 and 2. Overall, like I said, decent movie. It's on Tubi for free. If you want to go watch it, I do recommend at least checking out this Chuck Norris. But fast forward to 1 hour and 16 minutes into the movie, that's when all the fun stuff you want to watch happens. You don't even need to know what happened at the beginning. You just know that Billy Drago is the bad guy. Chuck Norris is there to stop him and the evil Hector Salamanca, who is the general of the Colombian army. And that's it. That's all you need to know. You don't need to go. You don't need to spend 1 hour and 15 minutes of bullshit just to get to that,
Yeah.
All right. Or you can just watch YouTube highlight reels. All right. We'll see you guys later. And as always, if you haven't already done so, please leave a comment, like, and all that fun stuff. Comment down below. Let us know what you thought of this movie. Is this your first time watching this movie? If you've never watched it, do you plan on watching it soon? Just leave a comment. It helps.
But you know why they should watch it though, RDV?
Because Chuck Norris is in it. If you
exactly.
That's the only reason why I watch this. Is Chuck Norris is doing at least 2 different roundhouse kicks in here too. We get them hanging from helicopters with 2 cables being lifted up, and
He
Chuck
rock
Norris,
climbs.
Yep.
Parachutes.
Yep. He runs.
And he wears a sweater.
A very good sweater. He even takes out Chinese.
He makes the bum pay for the food.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "This is good rice. You like the rice?
Get out of here." Yeah. Good night, everybody.
All right, later.